Hello and welcome back to the channel. Okay, right, so in this video I'm just going to talk through some sort of latest news that's been going around and my opinions on them as always. So my first concern is now the PS5 has been with various YouTubers and stuff, because at first I'd done a video on it, they only went to Japan, they were influencers in Japan, which is very odd. But then they said, okay, well we'll give it out to the Western YouTubers, which now it's been with them for a week, as I covered in the video. Loads of people have got it. But we've still not heard anything. Now, people saying, the gamers, or PS4 gamers, are saying, yeah, but it's still locked down behind the NDA. But so's Xbox. Xbox, all of that stuff's not been revealed. But what they have still revealed to us is how smart delivery works. They've showed load times of games compared to old games, the speeds of it. They actually showed the box, they showed what it does. They've sort of done pretty much as they can do for the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series Slim. We've heard nothing about PS5 at all, really. It's been a week, and it's a bit concerning. What I'm more shocked about is that a lot of the PS players are saying, "Yeah, well, we just have to wait. It doesn't matter. The game's releasing, the console releases in 2 weeks." Well, no, not really. That's not good enough. And they said that's what they did with PS4. We're in 2020. It's not 2013 anymore. It's 2020. People need to know, especially when you're going to come out and say, certainly done a special speech on his console back in April and spoke so highly of it and its capabilities, but not shown. It's actually shown us its capabilities. It's not even really shown the load times. I think there's been Spider-Man sort of slightly coverage of load times. That's it. That's all we've seen, and it's a bit concerning in my opinion. If I wouldn't go to a car dealer and say, "Can I buy a car, please?" and he says, "Yeah," and I say, "Okay, can I have a look at your cars?" If the car dealer said to me, "No, you can't look at my cars. Just take my word for it and buy a car, and then I'll show you after you've purchased it, or show you what it's capable of after you've purchased it," I'm going to just walk away. I'm going to go, "That's not happening. Buy." I'm going to walk away. I'm not going to buy something that I'm not seeing the ins and outs of. We're in 2020 now. A lot of hardware going into these new consoles. Massive competition between Xbox and PlayStation going into next generation. Sony need to come out and say, "Look, this is what we can do. This is our heating arrangement," because they've shown even the heating, the Digital Foundry, which I showed in another previous video. Digital Foundry done a breakdown of the heating on the Xbox to debunk people saying that it was overheating. It's not. So they debunked all that. Digital Foundry debunked it, as well as other YouTubers. PS5 have not shown anything. They've talked about they've got a special cooling system. We've not seen anything. So it's a bit concerning, really, and I'm hoping Sony does come out with something in the next few days, because they need to. They really need to. Equally concerning is some of the other news that is coming out about the PS5 as well. This is why I think Sony needs to speak up or do something. Sony delays PS5 launch title Destruction All-Stars to February 2021. So yes, they've had one of their games delayed. Not only delayed, but it's now free. It was going to be priced £70, but now they're giving it to you free, which sort of tells me they're not putting much faith in it. They're putting it on PS Plus, so you just can download it. So and pre-orders will be refunded, which is good. Imagine you bought it and they're not going to refund you. That'd be awful. Can you imagine Sony doing that? They've done it before. So yes, so that's a bit worrying that they delayed it and now it's free. So it doesn't put much faith in that game. And also, obviously now they've lost another launch title. So the only launch titles now that are coming to PlayStation 5, I imagine, is Spider-Man, the sort of expansion, Demon's Souls, which I'll get into in a minute, Demon's Souls remake / remaster, and Bugsnax. Oh, and Sackboy, which is just a tech demo for the controller, really. So it is a bit worrying. Oh, we've got Godfall as well, which is a third-party timed exclusive, which people are really hyping up, which is odd because no one's ever hyped up Borderlands before as much as they're hyping up Godfall. And Borderlands looks far superior to Godfall, I have to say. So, going back to Demon's Souls. Yes, Demon's Souls will not support ray tracing on the PlayStation 5. Yes, so Demon's Souls, a game that was made specifically for PlayStation 5, will not have ray tracing. Now, let's just wind back to Halo Infinite when that was going to launch without ray tracing, and the big hoo-ha that created. Oh no, a game's going to release on the Xbox Series X, and it won't have ray tracing. Bear in mind, Halo Infinite was going to be a cross-gen game, so it would have been hard to implement ray tracing at that time, especially to have it on the Xbox One as well. However, Demon's Souls is not going to have ray tracing. So I don't know where that puts you guys, and it's quite in sort of, I don't know, odd really. Why have they not put ray tracing on Demon's Souls? It's a game built on the PlayStation 5 from the ground up, and it's going to have no ray tracing in it. And players will be able to choose between two graphic modes, one focused on fidelity, one focused on frame rates. So it sounds like it's using this like some of the PS5 games, where there's no 4K 60. Instead, you've either got a 60 option or a 4K option. This is also very concerning for many of the games. Spider-Man's got it, and a few other games they've announced. Pretty much all the games they've announced actually have this option. There's no 4K 60 option. There's either 60 or 4K. Whereas the Xbox Series X games that are announced are 4K 60 or even 4K 120. So, see, this is just not good news, Sony, in my opinion. If you're trying to sell me a console, when you've got Xbox Series X coming out with all their information and all their stats and detail and stuff on their games, Sony are telling us nothing, but then I'm reading stuff like this. So, Demon's Souls not having ray tracing on. Not great, especially as it's just a remake anyway, and it costs £70. So, who of you here remember Sony fanboys telling you that PSVR is the future of gaming, and PlayStation is ahead because of VR, Xbox is behind because they're not pursuing it? Well, PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan believes the future of VR is still far off. There we go. So Sony's Jim Ryan discusses whether PSVR fits in the new era of gaming, brought by the release of next-gen consoles next month. Yes, so with only a few days away, the highly anticipated release of PlayStation 5, many wonder what this new era of console gaming will bring to the future. Now, PlayStation CEO Jim Ryan recently shared his insights on everything PlayStation in a new interview. Speaking to Washington Post, additionally in the interview, Ryan said that he believes that the next step in VR technology will probably not arrive in the next year or two, but clarified that he believes that it will come at some point in the future. No shit, Ryan. Although Ryan is talking about VR in general, it is interesting to see whether he is hinting that players shouldn't expect to see a new PSVR device in the next couple of years. So there we go. So Sony now have even pretty much given up on PSVR. I mean, have you heard any games coming out or much about the new headset or any details about PSVR for PS5? And I'll tell you why. Because it just wasn't popular. This is why Phil said he will back it if it picks up, if it gets popular. We're just not at the level yet. The technology's not there to have it at a suitable price that players can just pick it up and buy it and play it. Top AAA devs are not supporting it. You PS fanboys can go, yes they are, yes they are. No, they're not. None of the PS AAA devs are supporting PSVR. It's only sort of little AA devs that are really making games for it. There's no AAA devs. You're not getting you're not getting Naughty Dog, for example, making PSVR games that are AAA standard on it with full campaigns and everything in VR. It's just not happening. No one's really supporting VR. It's still very much a gimmick, and I think Sony have made the right move sort of to sit back on it because it's just not popular. Despite all the, yes, it was popular, it was nonsense. It was just kidding yourselves, you was lying to yourselves, trying to make out it was something which it wasn't. It's not popular. Sony have finally admitted it. Jim Ryan's come out and said it. You just have to roll the punches, I'm afraid. It's just, PSVR is dead for the time being, as much as Xbox VR is. So, there we go. And I think Sony should be commended on that, because they should just drop it, because it's very costly and very pointless, to be honest, and looks silly. But let's end on a positive note for next-gen gaming. So, Microsoft claims Xbox Series X and S are the only next-gen consoles with full RDNA2 hardware support. So, yes, and recently Microsoft came out and said this, with full hardware support, and this includes accelerated DirectX ray tracing, mesh shaders, sampler feedback, variable rate shading, hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing, and such. And they've gone on to show this. So there's a whole list of capabilities that the RDNA2 offer. Now they say this is the only console to do this because PS5 is said to not do this. But let's first hear it from the horse's mouth.
Console. So let's talk about RDNA2 because there's been a little bit of news about that this week, and I want you to explain that to folks what it is and how we use it on the Xbox Series.
It's a great question. Earlier this week, AMD announced the 6000 series of discrete PC cards with full support for RDNA2. And we're really excited to partner with AMD. And RDNA2 is really at the heart of the Xbox Series X and Series S. And the Xbox Series X and Series S are the only next-gen consoles that have full hardware support for the full set of RDNA2 capabilities. RDNA2 delivers a high level of efficiency and a new level of performance, but it also includes brand new features like hardware accelerated DirectX ray tracing, variable rate shading, mesh shaders, and sampler feedback. So this is really kind of the foundation of the technology platform that we're going to be building games on for the next 7 to 10 years.
Yeah, and I want to point out that's important because you talk about how that the consoles are the only ones that have the full stack. Because sometimes you may hear like they're going to use one or two features, but all of the features in the technology we have in the consoles. So that's I don't want to say future proof because that's always dangerous, but it's really good looking forward, isn't it?
Exactly. And as a game developer, what's really exciting is you get all the exact same features of DirectX 12 Ultimate on console, on PC as well. So you have one common set of capabilities. So as you develop your game, and if you choose to ship it on PC or console, you're guaranteed to have all of those same features. And it just makes the development process that much easier.
Another thing I want to point out is that this is, at the start of these generations, there's always a little bit, this isn't a negative, but it's growing pains as we learn about the technology, as developers learn about the technology. So the games, as we progress through the next coming months, are just going to get better and better and look better and perform better, right?
Absolutely. If you look at any console generation, the games that ship at the beginning of the generation versus the end of the generation, it really comes down to developers really understanding how to take full advantage of the hardware as well as the software capabilities that we offer. We're really incredibly proud and excited by what we're already seeing from some of the launch titles. But exactly to your point, as we look at year 2, year 3, year 4, developers are just going to get that much better at taking full advantage of all of these new capabilities and really delivering those transformative gaming experiences.
And this is where Xbox Series X really has the advantage because the biggest, as it says here, features the biggest additional to the Radeon arsenal with RDNA2 is real-time ray tracing and support for DirectX 12 Ultimate, which is what the Xbox Series X has along with PCs. Now this is the part. The new cards feature one ray accelerator for each compute unit. So I repeat, the new cards feature one ray accelerator for each compute unit. Now the Xbox Series X has, I believe, 52 CUs, whereas the PS5 only has 34. So if you're getting one ray accelerator for each unit, it's clearly, obviously, the Xbox Series X will have far more accelerators for its ray tracing capabilities. So that means it will have a better performance in real-time ray tracing over the PS5. That's sort of a given there. It's quite explained there. And with DirectX 12 backing it, which is then going to be sort of implemented into the RDNA2, which is implemented into the Xbox Series X and not the PS5, it boosts it even more and makes games between PC and Xbox Series X just more fluid. The last other bit to take away from the video was the backwards compatibility. So let's listen to the guys talk about backwards compatibility.
Second, third year after launch. Let's go back and talk about backwards compatibility because we've been talking about that a lot recently, and it's something that's really important to gamers. Is our backwards compatibility program is I would argue, and I'm going to say this, second to none. I mean, you and I know that team, and they do extraordinary work over there. But let's talk about some of the advantages with Xbox Series X and X for the backwards compatible program.
Absolutely. And I think you hit it right on the head. We started this journey in 2015 on the Xbox One. So it's really an area that we've invested very heavily in. And we've developed new ways to preserve and enhance your favorite games. And with the Xbox Series X and Series S, we really started from day one wanting to ensure compatibility across generations. And that influenced the design of the hardware as well as the software. And the backwards compatibility team has spent hundreds of thousands of hours testing all of the games on the Xbox Series X and Series S. And that means on day one, all of the games that run on Xbox One will be available for you, with the exception of a handful of Kinect-only titles. Right. And not only will those games play, but they're going to play better than you've ever seen them before, because we run them with the full power of the CPU, the GPU, the memory, and the very clear advantages in the next generation storage architecture we have. So all your games will just play that much better on Series X and Series S.
And there we have it. I hope you're pretty much hyped for next generation, which will be with us in a couple of weeks. Myself and Red Dead Panda, please check out her channel. Are going to start doing a podcast. Hopefully we're going to get it going this Saturday. The thing is, she's in New Zealand, I'm in the UK. There's a 12 hours time difference between us. So we're likely to do it around 12 or 1 a.m. my time. So that'd be Sunday morning, which will be around her Sunday lunchtime. So I suppose if you're in the US, it's going to be your Saturday afternoon, probably around 6 o'clock in the evening, I'd imagine. Please jump in if you can, if we get it going. Please jump up. I'm going to post some more stuff about it, hopefully before the weekend. That's going to be her first podcast, and we're likely to do a podcast every couple of weeks to stop it from going stale, because these things, when they're every week, they can run a bit stale, or when they're sort of every day. Because we want to keep the news fresh and interesting, and we will be having special guests on our show. Red Dead Panda is very good because she's very techy as well, so please check her out. In addition... so what do you think about the next-gen consoles? What do you think about Sony? Are they being too quiet? Are you happy? Are you happy with what they revealed? Are you happy with just hearing what Sony basically said back in April, and then not having much else to back up what his claims are for, like, load times or the cooling systems and stuff like that? Or are you just going to buy a PS5 just based on Spider-Man, basically? Is that good enough for you to buy a next-gen console? Let me hear your thoughts and things. Xbox gamers, why are you buying the Xbox Series X? I'd love to hear that. Please sub and share. Please comment below. I try to get back to everyone as I can. And thank you all for watching, and goodbye for now.